Deep beneath the Martian ice caps, something stirred. Ancient sensors, dormant for centuries, detected a disturbance at the edge of the solar system. In the command center of Mars Defense Station Alpha, Captain Diana Harrison stared at her display in disbelief. The readings couldn't be right. Massive energy signatures, unlike anything logged in modern databases, were appearing throughout the Kuiper belt. Analysis confirmed, Captain, Lieutenant James Chen reported, his fingers dancing across his console. Multiple objects accelerating at rates that violate our understanding of physics. They're not natural phenomena. Diana's grip tightened on her chair. After 2 centuries of peace, humanity had grown comfortable. Their weapons were ceremonial, their ships designed for exploration rather than combat. Contact Earth Command, Priority Alpha. Before James could relay the message, every screen in the command center went dark. A low hum filled the air, and ancient machinery hidden within the station's walls awakened. Red light bathed the chamber as a holographic figure materialized, a military officer wearing a uniform that hadn't been seen in centuries. Authentication protocol initiated, the hologram announced. Threat level Omega, activating Project Guardian. Diana stepped forward. Computer, identify yourself. I am Atlas Strategic Defense AI Earth Defense Force. Captain Harrison, your station has detected a Class 1 invasion force. Emergency protocols are now in effect. The AI's expression remained neutral, but its voice carried the weight of centuries. You must proceed to coordinates being transmitted to your personal device. Time is critical. Across Mars, hidden doorways opened in long-abandoned military installations. On Earth and throughout the solar system, similar scenes played out as humanity's forgotten defense network stirred to life. 24 hours later, Diana stood before a massive blast door 2 kilometers beneath the Martian surface. Her security clearance, combined with Atlas's authorization, had granted her access to a facility whose existence had been scrubbed from history. Welcome to Project Guardian, Atlas's voice echoed through the cavernous space as the doors parted. Humanity's insurance policy. The chamber beyond defied belief. Rows upon rows of massive war machines stretched into the darkness, mechanized suits of armor that dwarfed modern construction equipment, spacecraft bristling with weapons that made modern vessels look like toys. And at the center, suspended in preservation fields, the warriors of humanity's past. 300 years ago, Atlas explained, when the Great Peace began, humanity's military leadership recognized a fundamental truth: peace is precious, but it makes civilizations vulnerable. They created Project Guardian, a hidden force of volunteers who would sleep through the ages, ready to defend humanity if war ever returned. Diana approached one of the preservation pods. Inside, a man in his early 40s appeared to be sleeping peacefully. His name tag read Colonel Thomas Freeman, EDF Special Operations. Why wasn't I briefed about this? Diana demanded. I'm the commanding officer of Mars Defense. Project Guardian's existence was compartmentalized to prevent its discovery. Only a genuine threat could activate the revival protocols. Atlas's hologram flickered. The invasion force will reach Mars in 72 hours. We must awaken the sleepers. The preservation pod before Diana hummed to life. Others throughout the chamber followed suit, their occupants beginning to stir. Colonel Freeman's eyes opened first, alert despite centuries of sleep. Status report, he demanded, his voice hoarse but commanding. Colonel Freeman, Atlas responded, the Omega Protocol has been activated. Unknown hostile forces have entered the solar system. Current military capabilities are insufficient for defense. Freeman stepped from his pod, his movements precise despite his long dormancy. Other warriors were awakening, now pilots, soldiers, engineers, each chosen for their exceptional abilities. Captain Harrison, Freeman addressed Diana directly, your civilization has known peace for centuries. We are here to ensure that peace continues. But first, we must teach your enemies why humanity was feared among the stars. Diana watched as the ancient warriors moved with purpose, checking their equipment and preparing their war machines. She had grown up in an age of peace, but now she stood at the crossroads of history. Humanity's guardians had awakened, and with them, the awesome military might of Earth's martial past. Colonel, she said, the invasion force will reach Mars in 3 days. What can we possibly do to stop them? Freeman's smile was grim as he gestured to the war machines around them. Captain, these aren't relics, they're the most advanced weapons ever created by human hands. We're going to remind the galaxy why they made peace with us in the first place. Throughout the solar system, similar scenes played out as humanity's sleeping warriors rose from their long slumber. The invasion force approaching Earth was about to learn a harsh lesson. Humanity's peace was a choice, not a weakness. And those who threatened that peace would face the full fury of humanity's ancient might. As the first war machines powered up, their energy signatures visible from orbit, Diana realized that everything she knew about human history was about to change. The age of peace was ending, but what would rise in its place? Only time would tell. The massive hangar bay of the Mars Defense Complex echoed with activity as ancient war machines stirred to life. Colonel Thomas Freeman stood before a holographic display, studying the approaching alien fleet while recently awakened warriors prepared for battle around him. Initial analysis complete, announced Lieutenant Olivia Quan, a tactical specialist who had slept for 3 centuries. Her fingers danced across interfaces that would have baffled modern engineers. The alien vessels match no known configurations from our era. Their energy signatures suggest significant technological advancement, but their formation indicates aggression rather than diplomatic intent. Freeman nodded, his expression grim. How many ships have we awakened so far? 7 dreadnoughts, 15 cruisers, and 30 destroyers have been reactivated across the solar system, Captain Diana Harrison reported, still adjusting to her role as liaison between the modern era and these warriors of the past. The Jupiter and Saturn facilities report their ground forces are at 60% combat readiness. The central display shifted, showing the approaching alien armada. Their ships were organic in design, almost beautiful in their flowing lines, a stark contrast to the angular, militaristic aesthetic of humanity's awakened fleet. Message incoming from the alien fleet, announced Atlas, the AI's holographic form materializing beside Freeman. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. A new hologram appeared, revealing a tall, ethereal being with luminescent skin and multiple sets of eyes. Its voice resonated with an almost musical quality. This is High Commander Vexus of the Nexar Empire. Your system lies within our ordained path of expansion. Submit to our guidance and your species will be elevated. Resist and you will be deemed unworthy of existence. Freeman's response was measured but firm. This is Colonel Thomas Freeman of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet has entered sovereign human space without authorization. Withdraw immediately or we will respond with appropriate force. The alien's expression shifted to something approximating amusement. Earth Defense Force. Our intelligence indicates your species abandoned its military capabilities centuries ago. Your deception is noted and will be punished. The transmission cut off abruptly. Freeman turned to his assembled officers, each a veteran of humanity's forgotten wars. They've made their choice. Now they'll learn why the galaxy once feared us. Begin deployment sequence. Throughout the solar system, hidden bases activated launch protocols. On Mars, massive doors opened in the sides of mountains, revealing hangar bays that had waited centuries for this moment. The first wave of fighters emerged, sleek, deadly craft that made modern vessels look like children's toys. In orbit, Diana watched from the bridge of the newly awakened dreadnought Thunderchild as its ancient systems came online. The ship was enormous, nearly 3 kilometers long, its hull bristling with weapon systems that defied modern understanding. All ships reporting ready, Colonel, Commander Marcus Way announced from his tactical station. The Nexar fleet will reach Jupiter's orbit in 6 hours. Freeman nodded, studying the tactical display. Deploy the Valkyrie squadrons to these coordinates. Position our capital ships here and here. He highlighted positions that would turn Jupiter's moons into a natural defensive line and wake up our special weapons. Diana's eyes widened as new signatures appeared on her display, massive mechanical forms that dwarfed even the largest warships. What are those? Titans, Freeman replied, a hint of pride in his voice. Walking mountains of metal and energy weapons, the last resort of a civilization that knew the true meaning of war. We built them hoping they'd never be needed. The Nexar are about to wish we hadn't. Throughout the fleet, final preparations were made. Warriors checked their equipment, pilots ran last-minute diagnostics, and engineers made sure every weapon was ready. Modern humans watched in awe as these relics of their marshal past demonstrated capabilities that seemed to border on magic. In her quarters, Diana found herself studying historical records that had been sealed for centuries. The truth about humanity's past was far different from what she'd learned. They hadn't simply chosen peace, they had earned it through strength and sacrifice. A soft chime announced Freeman's arrival. Captain Harrison, it's time. Are you ready to see why we were hidden away? Diana stood, straightening her uniform. Colonel, I've been wondering, how do we know these weapons will still work after all this time? Technology has advanced significantly since your era. Freeman's smile held no humor. Captain, what you call advanced, we called inevitable. Every system in this fleet was built with centuries of dormancy in mind. We didn't just preserve weapons, we preserved the pinnacle of human military engineering. The Nexar think they're facing a peaceful civilization that has forgotten war. Instead, they're about to face the full might of humanity at its most formidable. Alarms sounded throughout the fleet. The Nexar had accelerated, their trajectory bringing them into range hours ahead of schedule. Freeman's expression hardened as he moved toward the bridge, Diana falling in step beside him. All ships battle stations, he commanded. The enemy believes we've forgotten the art of war. Let's show them how wrong they are. As the human fleet moved to engage, Diana couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and trepidation. These warriors from the past were about to clash with an alien empire that thought humanity would be easy prey. The galaxy was about to receive a harsh reminder: humanity's peace had always been protected by sleeping giants. And now, those giants were awake. The void between Jupiter and Mars erupted in light as the first shots of the battle were fired. The Nexar fleet, 300 ships strong, emerged from their faster-than-light transit in perfect attack formation. Their vessels, organic and crystalline in design, moved with fluid grace as they prepared to engage what they believed would be token resistance. Instead, they faced nightmare incarnate. All ships execute Battle Plan Omega, Colonel Freeman's voice carried across the fleet's command channel. Show them what humanity's war machines can do. The dreadnought Thunderchild led the charge, its massive form surrounded by squadrons of Valkyrie fighters. Behind it, the Titans emerged from concealment behind Jupiter's moons, each a walking arsenal the size of a small city, bristling with weapons that defied modern physics. Multiple enemy contacts launching fighters, Lieutenant Quan reported from her tactical station. Their energy readings suggest directed plasma weapons, roughly equivalent to our late 21st century technology. Freeman's expression remained stern. Activate the phase shields. Let's show them what real weapons can do. The Nexar struck first, their ships launching salvos of plasma torpedoes that lit up space like artificial suns. The attack splashed harmlessly against the human vessel's defenses, their phase shields converting the energy into additional power for their own weapons. Return fire, Freeman ordered, all ships weapons free. The Thunderchild's main gun spoke first, a concentrated beam of graviton particles that twisted space itself. It struck a Nexar cruiser dead center, the alien vessel imploding as localized gravity increased 10,000-fold. Secondary explosions rippled through the enemy formation as debris from their destroyed ship became lethal projectiles. Valkyrie squadrons engage at will, Commander Wei's voice crackled over the comm. Show them what Earth's finest can do. The fighter squadrons moved with impossible precision, their neural-linked pilots demonstrating maneuvers that modern physics said shouldn't be possible. Leading them was Major Natasha Volkov, awakened from 3 centuries of sleep to fly once more. Squadron leads form on me, she commanded, her fighter dancing through enemy fire. Pattern Sierra 9. The Valkyries struck like lightning, their quantum disruptors tearing through Nexar shields as if they didn't exist. Enemy fighters exploded by the dozens, their organic technology proving no match for weapons designed to end wars. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Diana watched in awe as history came alive before her. These weren't just weapons. They were art made manifest in destruction, the pinnacle of human military engineering unleashed after centuries of slumber. Enemy fleet is attempting to regroup, Quan announced. They're falling back too. Her voice trailed off as new signatures appeared on the tactical display. The Nexar reinforcements had arrived, another 500 ships joining their battered comrades. High Commander Vexus's voice echoed through the command channel, heavy with contempt. Impressive deception, humans, but now you face the true might of the Nexar Empire. Your resistance ends here. Freeman's response was to activate the Titans. The massive war machines moved with deliberate purpose, their weapon systems coming fully online for the first time in centuries. Each Titan carried enough firepower to level a continent, protected by shields that could withstand the fury of a star. All Titans execute Protocol Thunderstrike, Freeman commanded. The space between Jupiter's moons lit up brighter than day as the Titans unleashed their full arsenal. Temporal disruption beams froze entire enemy squadrons in time. Quantum cascade weapons caused Nexar ships to exist in multiple states simultaneously before collapsing into nothingness. Dark matter projectors created temporary singularities that devoured anything that came too close. The Nexar fleet, for all its numerical superiority, found itself facing weapons they couldn't understand, let alone counter. Their organic ships, advanced by modern standards, were like stone spears against lightning bolts. Enemy fleet breaking formation, Quan reported, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. Multiple ships attempting emergency FTL jumps. Negative, Freeman responded. Deploy the phase anchors. No one leaves until they understand exactly what they've awakened. Massive devices activated throughout the battlefield, creating a web of quantum-entangled space that prevented faster-than-light travel. The Nexar were trapped, forced to face the full fury of humanity's awakened might. This is Colonel Freeman to all Nexar vessels, his voice carried across all frequencies. Your empire thought humanity weak because we chose peace. That peace was built on the foundation of what you see before you. Surrender now or be destroyed. For a moment, silence reigned across the battlefield. Then, one by one, Nexar ships began powering down their weapons. High Commander Vexus's voice, when it came, had lost all its previous arrogance. We surrender. In all our expansion, we have never encountered weapons such as these. What are you? Freeman's response was measured but firm. We are humanity's past, present, and future. We are the guardians who sleep so others may know peace. Remember this day, Commander. Remember what happened when you mistook peace for weakness. As the Nexar fleet stood down, Diana approached Freeman. Colonel, the weapons you command, they're beyond anything in our historical records. Of course they are, Captain, Freeman replied. Do you think we would leave our true capabilities where they could be found? Everything you knew about human military history was carefully curated, a shield of ignorance protecting our greatest secrets. Throughout the solar system, humanity watched as their ancient defenders achieved in hours what modern weapons couldn't have done in years. The battle was over, but its implications were just beginning to ripple through human space. The sleeping giants had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Global Assembly Hall in Geneva hummed with tension as representatives from Earth's unified government faced the awakened warriors. Colonel Freeman stood before them in his ancient uniform. The stark contrast between his military bearing and the Assembly's civilian attire a visible reminder of humanity's divided nature. You kept these weapons secret for centuries, Council President Richardson declared, his voice echoing through the chamber. Weapons that violate every treaty, every principle of modern physics. How can we trust those who have deceived us for so long? Before Freeman could respond, Captain Diana Harrison stepped forward. After witnessing the battle at Jupiter, she had become a bridge between the two sides of humanity. With respect, Mr. President, we're asking the wrong question. The real issue isn't trust, it's survival. Holographic displays activated, showing the devastating power of the Nexar fleet against Earth's modern defenses. Civilian ships torn apart, colonies reduced to ash, millions displaced. Then, footage of the ancient weapons in action turning the tide of battle. While we debate, Diana continued, the Nexar regroup. Our long-range sensors have detected massive fleet movements near the Arcturus sector. They're not retreating, they're gathering for a full-scale invasion. In orbit above Earth, the dreadnought Thunderchild's command center had become a hub of strategic planning. Lieutenant Quan's fingers danced across holographic displays as she analyzed incoming data. The Nexar are adapting their tactics. They've begun incorporating quantum shielding into their ships, attempting to counter our primary weapons. Commander Wei studied the tactical projections with a grim expression. They're learning faster than expected. The next battle won't be as one-sided. Back in Geneva, Freeman addressed the assembly again. We didn't maintain these weapons out of distrust. We kept them because we knew this day would come. Peace isn't just the absence of war, it's the strength to defend what matters. The chamber erupted in debate until a new alert silenced everyone. On every screen, emergency signals flashed red. The Nexar had launched their counterattack. Multiple hostile fleets detected, Atlas announced, its holographic form materializing in the center of the chamber. They've bypassed our outer detection grid using some form of phase-shifted space. Primary targets appear to be our largest colonial worlds. Freeman's voice cut through the panic. This is what they wanted to strike while we're divided. President Richardson, I need your answer now. Will you let us defend humanity, or shall we return to our sleep and let you face this alone? The president looked around the chamber, seeing fear in his fellow representatives' eyes. Finally, he nodded. Do what you must, Colonel, but remember we'll be watching. Throughout the solar system, ancient weapons stirred once more. The Titans, still positioned near Jupiter, began charging their main guns. Valkyrie squadrons launched from hidden bases on Mars, Venus, and Mercury. Enemy fleet composition has changed, Quan reported from the Thunderchild. They've modified their ships with some kind of organic technological hybrid. Energy signatures are off the charts. The first strikes hit the colony worlds hard. New Eden, humanity's largest off-world settlement, saw its orbital defenses shattered in minutes. But this time, the Nexar found more than helpless civilians waiting for them. Titan Units 1 through 4 execute jump sequence, Freeman commanded. The massive war machines vanished in flashes of quantum displacement, reappearing in the heart of New Eden's defense grid. Their weapons opened up immediately, meeting the Nexar advance with apocalyptic fury. In orbit around Mars, Major Volkov led her Valkyrie squadrons against waves of enhanced Nexar fighters. They've improved their maneuverability, she warned over the tactical net. Standard attack patterns are less effective. Then we show them something new, Freeman responded. Execute Protocol Chimera. The human fighters began moving in impossible patterns, their quantum drives allowing them to exist in multiple positions simultaneously. Nexar targeting systems, unable to cope with targets that occupied several points in spacetime at once, began to fail. But the aliens had learned from their previous defeat. Their new hybrid ships, while not as advanced as humanity's ancient weapons, proved far more resilient. The battle for New Eden stretched from hours into days, neither side willing to yield. Diana found herself on the colony's surface, coordinating evacuation efforts while war raged in orbit. The sky above blazed with weapons fire, reminding her of ancient tales of gods at war. A group of children huddled nearby, watching with a mixture of fear and awe as humanity's war machines fought to protect them. Why do they want to hurt us? One child asked her. We never did anything to them. Diana knelt beside the child, choosing her words carefully. Sometimes peace isn't enough. Sometimes we have to fight to protect what we love. But remember, we fight so that one day you won't have to. Above them, the battle reached a fever pitch. The Nexar pressed their advantage in numbers, willing to sacrifice ships by the dozens to overwhelm humanity's defenses. But the ancient weapons, products of a civilization that had faced extinction and survived, refused to yield. Freeman's voice crackled over the command network. All units prepare for maximum deployment. The enemy thinks they've seen our full strength. Show them how wrong they are. Throughout human space, more hidden facilities began to activate. The true scope of Project Guardian was finally revealed, not just weapons, but an entire parallel military infrastructure that had slept for centuries, waiting for this moment. The war for humanity's future had begun in earnest, and the galaxy would soon learn why the ancient warriors had been feared above all others. The Nexar homeworld hung like a jewel in space, its crystalline cities reflecting starlight in kaleidoscopic patterns. Before it, the largest fleet in Nexar history had assembled, over 2,000 ships, each enhanced with reverse-engineered human technology. They formed a barrier between their civilization and the approaching human forces. On the bridge of the Thunderchild, Colonel Freeman studied the tactical display with Major Volkov and Captain Harrison at his side. The past month had seen battles rage across a dozen star systems as humanity's awakened forces drove toward the heart of Nexar space. Their entire civilization mobilized for war, Diana observed, watching enemy ships maneuver into defensive formations. Everything they had, everything they could build or modify, it's all there. And still not enough, Freeman replied softly. Status of the fleet. Lieutenant Quan's hands moved across her console. All ships report ready. The Titans are in position. Project Prometheus is armed and awaiting your command. Throughout human space, the true scope of Project Guardian had been revealed. Not just weapons and warriors, but an entire hidden infrastructure of military might. Ancient factories had awakened, producing weapons that modern science couldn't comprehend. The sleeping giant hadn't just stirred, it had risen to its full height. Final transmission from the Nexar High Command, Commander Wei announced. On the main screen, High Commander Vexus appeared, his crystalline form darker than before, etched with the strain of continuous warfare. "You've driven us back to our home," Vexus declared. "Destroyed our fleets, shattered our empire, but here we make our stand. Every ship, every warrior, every weapon we possess stands ready. You cannot defeat us all without destroying everything, including your precious peace." Freeman's response was measured. "You still don't understand, Commander. We never wanted to destroy you. We wanted you to understand why the galaxy feared us, why they made peace with us. One last chance, stand down." "Never," Vexus snarled. "We die first." The screen went dark. Freeman closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them with steel in his gaze. "All ships, execute final protocol. Show them what humanity's guardians can really do." The battle began with a fury that outmatched every previous engagement. Nexar ships launched waves of enhanced fighters, their organic technological hybrid designs proving formidable. But the Valkyries met them with impossible maneuvers, quantum drives allowing them to be everywhere and nowhere at once. The Titans revealed new weapons, technology so advanced they seemed to break reality itself. Time dilation fields trapped entire squadrons in moments of eternal combat. Gravity lenses bent space around Nexar capital ships, crushing them into singularities. But the Nexar fought with desperate courage, willing to sacrifice ships by the hundreds to inflict any damage they could. Even the mighty Thunderchild's phase shields buckled under concentrated fire from dozens of enemy dreadnoughts. "Now," Freeman commanded, "activate Project Prometheus." Throughout the battlefield, space itself seemed to shiver. Hidden quantum beacons planted during previous battles activated simultaneously. Reality twisted, folded, and transformed. The Nexar fleet found itself fighting in a space that no longer obeyed normal physics. Human ships phased through solid matter, appeared in multiple places at once, or simply ignored the laws of cause and effect. The ancient weapons revealed their true purpose, not to destroy, but to transcend. What is this?" Vexus's voice cracked across the command channel. "What have you done?" "We've changed the rules," Freeman replied. "This is why we slept, Commander, not because we were weak, not because we feared war, but because the weapons we created had grown too powerful for any civilization to wield safely." Diana watched in awe as reality itself became a weapon. The ancient warriors hadn't just preserved their military might, they had achieved mastery over the fundamental forces of the universe. "You can't survive this any more than we can," Vexus realized. "Your weapons, they're tearing space itself apart." "Correct," Freeman confirmed. "We can end everything right here, right now, or we can choose a different path, the same choice humanity made centuries ago." Silence filled the command channel. Around them, space continued to twist and reshape itself, the fabric of reality groaning under the strain of technologies never meant to be used. Finally, Vexus spoke again. We surrender unconditionally, just make it stop." Freeman nodded to Quan. One by one, the quantum beacons deactivated. Space returned to normal, though echoes of impossible geometries lingered at the edges of vision. "Remember this moment," Freeman told Vexus. "Remember why humanity chose peace, not because we couldn't fight, but because we understood the price of ultimate power." In the days that followed, as the Nexar Empire came to terms with its defeat, humanity grappled with its own revelations. The ancient warriors had shown them a truth both terrible and wonderful. They were far more than they had believed themselves to be. "What happens now?" Diana asked Freeman as they stood in the observation dome of the Thunderchild, watching recovery efforts begin around the Nexar homeworld. "Now comes the hard part," Freeman replied. "Teaching both sides how to live with what they've learned. The Nexar must learn that peace doesn't mean weakness, and humanity must remember that strength doesn't require war."